Hey, we're in Lisa's attic, a different view. We're sitting down, and here today, Nelson too. So we're really excited about this new video that we're going to do. It's going to be on colds and how to shorten the duration of your cold. And it has been proven by myself and Nelson, so we're excited to share this with you. First, I just want to tell you that a cold first comes into, believe it or not, your aura and makes its way towards your physical body. And we want to talk about that. So I'm going to tell you a story. All right, we'll tell our story how we first started. Okay. So when Nelson and I were dating, I have been practicing this a long time, and there's a lot more stories I can tell you, but we'll keep it brief. I believe that you don't have to have a cold for 7 days. I believe a cold should last maybe 12 to 24 hours. And I've practiced this. I've practiced this for many, many years. And I'm a firm believer that once you know the symptoms and once you can, you should be able to prevent and kind of put up your force field and stop it from going any further. So when I met Nelson and being of a more medical background, go ahead.
So where I was at when we got together, I was teaching, and with my medical background before that, in my mind, it made perfect sense that I'm dealing with children. Uh, each September, they would bring their sniffles, and every year at the start of the year, I would catch a cold. In fact, I would probably get 2 to 3 colds a year that actually progressed into a bad sinus infection, uh, where I would have to get antibiotics. Again, making perfect sense to me and my medical background that would be the normal progression of things. Cold, every once in a while, into sinus infection, lasting 3, 5, 7, 10 days, and then.
So I guess we had gotten together and had moved in, and it was starting of the school time, and he said, "Oh, I'm going to get a cold, or I'll probably have it for 7 to 10 days." And I'm like, "Oh, is that how many days you want to have it?" And you said, basically.
Of course not. Who wants to have a cold for a week?
So I said, "Well, why did you say that then?" He said, basically you said, "Well, that's what I have," and I'm like, "That's what you have," and
So that's when Lisa taught me about how much control I have of my body and what happens to me. And the idea that if you don't want a cold for a week, then you don't have to have it for a week. And just by her saying that, and by me thinking differently, changing how I think, of course, there was a different outcome. And
yeah.
since that time, if I get a cold, it's not uncommon for the cold to be 1 day, maybe 2 days. We do have different approaches on how we tackle a cold. So maybe if you want to talk about what you do first.
It's really all about your intent. And so your intent is really important, how you go about this. For me, I really don't believe I should have a cold. I literally do not believe that I should have a cold for more than 24 hours. Now, when I first moved to Pine Plains, I was working in the nursery school, and I did get sick for 7 days. But I will tell you that I was not at my best. I was not practicing what I should have been practicing for all those years. There was a lot of stress and the move and everything. So I really was sick. That was the last time I have been sick since moving here. Again, it is your intent. When I get sick, the minute I feel something coming, and it's the first sniffle, I attack it by homeopathy. I use my zinc and anaconite. If you want more information, I could definitely let you know about that, but not here. I'll do it privately. And I can let you know how I attack it. I also then kind of decide how I want to deal with it. If I am feeling the cold coming on, I would actually take a break. I'll maybe rest that day. I will kind of get into my pajamas and, say, I'm going to drink my tea and I'm really going to work on it. The next day I'm fine. And Nelson saw me do that one time and he was amazed because I really was fine the next day. So I said, how many days do you think that you want to be sick? You have to pick a number that's reasonable. I want to say 1 day. If you do 1 day and you fail, then you'd be like, oh, see, she doesn't know what she's talking about and I can't do this. So if you always get a cold for like 7 days, say I will only have, it's Thursday, I'm going to be better by Sunday. And really put that intent out that is it by Sunday. It's my last minute. And then shorten it as you go, you know?
For me, when I get that sense that I'm coming down with a cold, I tackle it a little bit differently. The very first thing I'll do is I'll grab a clove of garlic, slice it up very thin,
Ugh,
let it
really
sit
have
for
to
a
love
couple
that
of
person.
minutes, and I chew it and swallow it whole. I also do a lot of echinacea. I was doing echinacea pills. As of this year, I switched over to the echinacea, the plant. I just buy the organic plant, and I do make my own tea. But that's pretty much it. The echinacea, the garlic,
I
and
used to
the
do a
intent.
neti pot because he used to get so sick
Oh,
that, he used to start the neti pot for
with the sinus
days on
infections,
end.
yeah.
And I don't think you've done the neti pot.
I can't remember, and I'll still do the neti pot if I get a little nasal congestion. But in terms of having a bad cold, or let's say being on an antibiotic for sinus infection, I can't even remember when that was the last time. So.
And what a great thing! I mean, I've been doing this. Now Nelson is doing it. We teach everyone, like, really put your intent out. You're a lot stronger than you think you are.
And I'll also add that this year, here we are in December, I've not had a cold this year at all.
Yeah. And when you go back to school, the teachers are the ones who get sick the first, and he hasn't been sick. And I think last week I was not feeling well, and so we're going to talk about that. He made me a big batch of elderberry because he wanted to try that, and I drank it. And it's funny because the next day, I think you said to me, "So how's your cold?" And I was like, "Oh, sorry, I didn't even thank. I felt bad. I didn't thank him because I didn't wake up with the cold. I was fine. I was like, oh, it was gone in maybe 6 hours. That night I was fine. Woke up and I should have been more grateful, but I just forgot. We're not used to having colds. Like we're used to dealing with them so quickly. You say, well, how else have you practiced this? Well, there's other stories I'll tell you, but I have done Reiki in the hospital, Pocono Medical, over 500 hours, and I was the only Reiki person who went and took care of C. diff and MRSA. I would go in their rooms. I was like not a problem, and I would tend to these patients because they needed it, and I never got it. I never once was concerned. I never once had any issues. It's really your mindset, your intent. So I guess that's what we wanted to tell you.
So C. diff, Clostridium difficile, an intestinal bacteria, and
which is extremely catchy.
MRSA, methicillin-resistant Staph aureus, which is becoming, I think that's a growing problem.
And my son had that for 2.5 months, and I stayed in his room and never got it.
So following this video, I'll share the elderberry syrup that I've been making this fall, and we take a little bit every day, and I'm out of it, so it's time to make some more. So I'll share how that's made later on.
Yeah, so thank you. We just want to say, have intent. You are so much stronger. You have an incredible capacity to change your day-to-day life and how you look at things. Pick a time, an amount of time that you say, well, I'll settle in, and maybe I'll take on the cold for maybe a couple of hours or a day or so. But don't be a victim for 7 to 10 hours. You don't need to be, unless you want to be.
7 to 10 days.
7 to 10 days. And Nelson didn't want to, and it's really great. So we're sharing this with you, and if you try it, let us know. Post, share your experiences. Sure. We want to see that more people are trying it. And if you have any questions, ask us, and we'd like to be available to you. So from here in Lisa's attic of Sacred Ways, much love to all.
Like and share if this helps you.
Yes. Bye-bye now.